Hi, my name is Avon, and in this video, we're going to go through how to use the search features of Zoho CRM so that we can find the records that we want. Now, one thing you'll probably notice is that I've only got 2 records here, but if we've got a CRM and it's got 100 or 1,000 or a few thousand or even a million records, it's going to be really hard to find the right kind of information. So in this video, I'm going to go through some of the search techniques that you can use to start to filter down and display information that's relevant to you. We've only got 2 test records in here, but I think that should be enough to demonstrate what we're going to do today. So the first thing we want to do is look at the list view of information that we've got in front of us. Now, sometimes there's different ways to display the list view. So you've got list view here. Kanban, so generally that goes off like a status field or a stage, and you can select that. So it could be, for example, we're going to do this one as status, and this is going to be the lead status. So we're going to categorize by lead status, and then if you want to aggregate, you can select annual revenue. So let's just hit save. So that's going to set up the Kanban for the first time. You can have different Kanban settings and you can flick between them. So in this case, we've got sort by, and then you've got the Kanban view setting wheel up there. So as you can see, we've got our lead statuses: attempting to contact, contact in future, contacted, junk, etc. So then they display as little cards. Now, because I haven't put these ones in a state, these are in this unaccounted list. So if I just drag them to one of the locations here, they're going to go into that list and it's going to increase the count. And it's also going to roll up that dollar figure because we were aggregating by amount. You might have aggregate by lead score. You can create like a custom lead score and then have the aggregate amount so that it will show you which ones have the highest lead score. And then that way you can prioritize those leads. Okay. So now that we've looked at the Kanban view, I'm also going to go and show you the Canvas view. Now, I generally prefer the list view because I'm working with a lot of records. If you want to see a lot of detail on the screen about one, then you can use the Canvas view. And as you can see, you get a little bit more information in the view, and it's predetermined or predisposed to showing an image. So you might use this view if you're working with products and you want to see a picture of the product, but personally, I rarely ever get photos of my leads. So I'm just going to go back to list view here. Now, one other thing about list view is it's kind of like a spreadsheet and you've got the columns here and then you've got the content in each of the columns. If I go to this fields to display, so I'm going to go to manage columns. Now, we can see a list of fields that are available on the record. So there's a whole bunch of extra info like the address, the rating, email opt-out, etc. So in this case, I want to see the title. Let's just say I want to make a call list and I want to see who it is that I'm calling. So maybe I'm going to go and reorganize. So I've got lead name, company. I want to grab perhaps name, title, then company. So I know, from looking at the list, the right type of companies, the right type of person, and I've got their name. And then if it's a call list, I'm going to prioritize the phone number. I've still got everything else. Maybe I don't really care who the lead owner is. The lead source in this circumstance, so I can turn it off. So I'm going to hit save. And then that's going to stack them all across here. Now, if you really want to drill down further, you can ascend, descend, or you can go alphabetical. You can start to organize the list here. You can have up to 15 of these titles. So if you want to see more, it'll create a little scroll bar and then you can scroll across to the right. So once you've got the list sorted out on what you want to display, you can also show more records. So you can show up to 100 records in the page. Sometimes that can get you a little bit stuck. You'll see your total number of records here. So if you're going to try and do something and you can't see every record, bear in mind that you've only got the 100 there. You do have the bulk select function just here. So you can select all the records and then you get some extra actions at the top here. Now, one of the other things that you can do is you've got these items that you can search by. So these are filters that are defined in the system. Now, unfortunately, if you search up here, you're not going to find, it's not going to search the records. All it's going to do is search these filters. Now, if you can't see that list, you need to click the little funnel icon just there. So using that funnel icon, I can go, I want to see all untouched records, that is records that's not been handled by user or system. So you can sort of say if there were any automated emails that are out of the list. If it's the user, then maybe they've received some automation, but no person has logged in and then dealt with the record. So you can make that choice there. The other thing is in the last 2 days, maybe that's a bit short. I want to see anyone who's not been contacted in the last 2 months. So then when I go and apply that filter, that's going to create a list of people who have not been contacted or dealt with in any way, shape or form by human or automation in the last 2 months. So once you've got that, don't forget you can compound them. So if I've got untouched records, I can go to also see untouched records with notes. That kind of indicates to me that we've been dealing with that person for a while and we know something about them and we've kept some notes. So I want to see people who we've had a bit of a relationship before and maybe we just want to spark that again. So I can compound those and then at the end I can clear them. Now that's just going to do a live filter on the records that are here. If you want to have a pre-selected view of the records, so maybe you want to see all your own leads, you've got this drop down here. So if I click on that one, then it's going to give me a list of these search filters. So then it's only going to show me my leads, or it's only going to show me the junk leads, or it's only going to show me, let's say, today's leads. So if you want, you can make that a little bit more specific to your use case. Maybe you want to see all open Australian leads, or like we had before, all untouched records in the last 2 months with notes, so that way you can keep on top of your existing relationships and keep driving those relationships forward. So in this case, we're going to create a new custom view, and the new custom view means that we can basically use those search filters, but it's like a saved search. So instead of creating a new search every time, so maybe in this case we want to say qualified leads. Oops. And in this case, and we're going to say my qualified leads. So I'm only looking at the ones that I own and that are relevant and likely to close, have the right components to be able to afford my services, etc. So here I'm going to go owner. So I want to know who the lead owner is, and the lead owner is, and then I'm going to say logged in user. So I could do myself there, but the reason why I'm selecting logged in user is because I want anybody else in the organization to also be able to use this list view and have it relevant to them when they are looking at it. So we've just made it a little bit more global. So the other one I'm going to add is status, or lead status, and then is. Now, don't forget you've got those other modifiers, is not, contains, doesn't contain. So like if you wanted to use doesn't contain, you could filter out things like email addresses with Gmail or Hotmail if you wanted to make sure that they were all company accounts. Or contains, maybe it's not always exact. Maybe you want it to contain AU, so you can get all the AU. So all my open Australian qualified leads. So here I'm going to go is, because it's very specific, and the lead status is, we'll say pre-qualified. Okay, so now that we've got our search filters, this is what will display in the column view. So if you want to create a special view for that over and above your standard view that you've got set up, you can predetermine that here. So I'm just going to hit save. And now we've created that view. So now when I go back to the list view, I've got my qualified leads. Now it's important to remember that if you can't see all the records and you don't know what's there, the first thing you need to do is just take that back to all leads, because it could be that you've set it with a filter on before and you get in there and you go, well, I can't see all my leads. Where have they gone? It's probably just because you've got that filter rule turned on, and you need to look at maybe changing that away from being a filtered rule to the all list view. I've had it before where we've had a customer who's seen the recently viewed items and then re-uploaded all of their contacts, and then they had like quadruplicates of every contact because they'd seen the recently viewed list was always only a very short list, and they said, where are all my contacts? So then they just kept uploading. So you need to be careful of that. Okay, so now that we've got the ability to search, we can do much more with the records. We do also have the ability to select them individually, or even, if there's 3, 4, 5, you can selectively choose the ones based on your filter view and then your list view. And then you do certain things like send an email, run a macro, which is like an email, a task, and a field update. And then you can create tags, actions, or any of those other items to bulk manage those records, to put them in new groups, to move them forward in a process, etc. Okay, so I hope you've enjoyed watching. And if you've got any questions, you can always reach out to us. Thank you very much.